renewing his contract. This was taken above in Lansdowne Road after the friendly game against New Zealand. He went for a walkabout and took applause. And he got a good applause from the crowd. I think everyone knew what was going to happen. So, but just, I know it's old news now. We just quick comment: Stephen Kinney's contract will not be renewed.
Yeah, Paul. It's even as you said, the contract not being renewed. We all knew pretty much after the home Dutch game we lost 2-1. We had no hope of qualifying. Our odds of getting into the playoff were very, very slim as well. And a lot of people have said, particularly after the Greece game, if they maybe have come to a deal like they did with Trapattoni, I think about 10 years ago. I think when there was qualification was out the door, I think they did an agreement with Trapattoni for the last 2 games that not to remove him. So I think he agreed to that. And I think particularly after, so we could have had the Gibraltar game, the 1-4-0. I didn't call it a day in because I think he had to fill an awful lot of questions. Is this your last game? Is this going to be a step down when you do eventually leave? What sort of job you got? He was linked with a few jobs in the lower leagues with England, even during the last couple of games.
Lincoln City, there's some talk about that.
Yeah, he was linked with Lincoln City and stuff like that. So, he had to fuel all these questions. Now, of course, the last Tuesday was all about McLean as well. It was his last international, and he got good reception as well from the crowd as well. 103 caps. So, it's fair play to him, and he's the rest of his club career now to enjoy as well. But his international career is over. A few others might call it today as well, Paul. But no, I just felt they were. He was taking all the heat for the FAI basically because the FAI, as we know themselves, are in. There's some shenanigans going on as well in the background. And I mean, Kenny's the face now. Now that Kenny's gone, this is going to be highlighted a little bit more. We still don't have a manager for the women's team. We now have a vacancy now for the men's team. So the FAI need to get their house in order as well. I felt they did probably do the right thing, put out of his misery in the end the day after. Like they say, there was going to be a short review done with the chief executive and the director of football, and they were going to show it to the board. But I think we all knew, everyone in the FAI knew within a couple of minutes when they went into that meeting, they all knew what way it was going to be voted on. So at least they didn't drag it on till, I think it was even supposed to be tomorrow. I think the review was supposed to happen, but they did it the day after. So less than 2 hours, he walked off the pitch. He was no longer the Irish manager. I think it's sad, Paul, because I saw everyone in Irish football wants this to work because this is a man that served Irish football at all levels. League of Ireland, the under-21 team, now the senior team. I think I was hopeful when he got the job, to be honest with you, Paul. I thought this is a man that is passionate. No, we're all passionate about Irish football, but this is a man who was really, really showing it. He's served the game at lower levels, so it wasn't just someone coming in for a big payday. This was someone that really worked his way up. Well, it was one of our own, but sadly, it just didn't work out, Paul. The campaign, the one they lost to Luxembourg did huge damage to him. I know it's ifs and buts, but it would have been a massive result if he was able to hang on and away to Portugal. Ronaldo, of course, got 2 late goals. And that's been probably a story of the campaign, Paul. Even a couple of days after that very good performance, I know they lost. They turned in a poor enough performance at home to Azerbaijan and had to get an 86-minute header from Shane Duffy to rescue a 1-1 draw. So it's been 1 step forward and 2 steps back, Paul. There was never any consistency, The 3-0 win against Scotland stands out. But if you look where both teams have gone, Steve Clarke was under pressure. Scotland regrouped, won the Nations League group. They beat us in Hampden Park. Again, that was another game we could have and probably should have won. We had a great chance. If you remember, Terry Power was 1-on-1 with the keeper and missed it at 1-1. It would have been a massive result. It's just, sadly, he's had 2 qualifying campaigns, 2 Nations League campaigns. He did actually have the playoff for Euro 2020. We didn't expect it now because of COVID, the whole lot. COVID injuries. I know he's the only manager who had to deal with that. I know, I totally accept that, but it happened for all managers worldwide. So sadly, it just didn't work out for him. 3 years. You could see it was down on him in the interviews with Tony O'Donoghue down RT and other interviews you see online. He said, I think he was asked the question, can you have the same passion and pride for future management jobs? And he said, no. He said, this was the job for me, and unfortunately, sometimes in life, Paul, you try your best at everything, and it just doesn't work out. And sadly, that's what happened with Stephen Kinney with Irish jobs. So
I kind of slight mixed emotions. I think, as I said, was it last March, one of the first podcasts we did, previewing the France game at home. The hardest job for a manager at any grade, at any sport, is when you're bringing in the younger players, you're easing out the older players, and there isn't a number of players of quality in between to knit the whole lot together. When that's happening, you get inconsistencies, and the results back up that, and your comments back up that. You get a good performance followed by a poor performance. That is part and parcel. It's the hardest job in all sports. So I won't give him a pass, but you can understand that. But I still think he didn't do. He was playing players out of position, but maybe he was under pressure too. We don't know. Maybe he just realised it wasn't good enough. And of course, you were lucky with. I think Seamus Colan been missing this campaign with injury. It was a huge loss as well. I think he would have been a great leader to knit the whole thing together. We'll say, but this is a professional sport. I don't buy these tears now, interviews with tears. I'm sorry, maybe it's just me being a slightly bit cynical. He's on a good wage. There's people who are working in far less jobs than before, and I don't buy these tears. Now, I don't know, I presume it's genuine, but sometimes on television you see lads throwing out a few tears and next thing they're grand a few days later. But look, that's the way it is, maybe. That's maybe me being a small bit cynical. But ultimately, I have a certain amount of sympathy for him, and that he was trying to bring in the players, young players, and that you had enough players to knit it together. But overall, he was getting well paid, and as you said, professional and international level, it's a results business, and the results didn't go. So ultimately, I think it was it had to be that decision.
Yeah, I think he said himself, sports is ruthless, and international football is ruthless, and I think he understood that. Look, it's just, regardless of whatever way you feel about it, I think it's just, Irish football is in a sad state, Paul. I think both sides on the island, to be honest with you, Northern Ireland aren't too great either. I mean, we could be watching on now in the Euros next year. Wales are in the playoff. We could be watching England, Scotland, and Wales playing, and we've seen all our neighbours at the tournament if it works out the way if Wales win them 2 games in March. So we're a long way off it, Paul, to be quite honest with you. I think the next appointment is probably the biggest appointment since before Jack Charlton. If you remember, we were discussing it there a couple of weeks ago when Owen Hands was last managing Ireland. They got an awful whipping, 4-1 at home to Denmark, and there was only like 8,000 or 9,000 netted in Lansdowne Road in 1985, I think it was, for qualification for the World Cup in '86, and I think Irish football was at a very low. You had the rugby team doing well, you had our boxers doing very well at the time as well, and I think I seen in a documentary, I think someone about Irish football. I mean, all the other sports were doing well, and then the Irish football team lost 4-1 in front of 2 men and a dog or something like that. They were saying the way they said it. So I think it's just.
But no, sorry, just because I'm an awful lot older than you. Jack Charlton shouldn't have been appointed. Bob Paisley, the former Liverpool manager, was nailed on to get it. And in the first vote, I think he was 1 vote short. And then the voting went on again, and I can't explain this, what happened, and no one can explain it. Jack Charlton got it.
Yeah. Someone changed their mind. I think at the initial time in I think it was early '86 when Jack got the job in February, I think it was. They had a few rounds of votes. It was Liam Toohey, John Giles, Jack Charlton, and Bob Paisley. Bob Paisley, I think at the start got 9 votes, and I think you needed 10. And I think Giles and Toohey got eliminated. So it's like pick one of the 3 to make it look, official and stuff like that. There was an awful lot of shenanigans going on. I think everyone said, even John Giles, and I know what John Giles was put in, but I don't think Giles really wanted the job at the time. But yeah, in the end, someone changed their mind, and in the end, Charlton got 10. I think Paisley, if I'm not mistaken, got 8. Look, that's all ancient history now. But
it's all
that shows you the way the FAI were sort of disorganised in the past. But I would say though that Jack Charlton got great success, and he almost got 10 years out of the job, and we got to 2 World Cups and 1 European Championships. Now, Jack Charlton had great luck in the end because he had Gary Mackay, I think it was, that got the goal for Scotland.
Yeah.
I mean, Scotland won the game, but Ireland went through for the tournament. So yeah, you need a little bit of luck like that as well, Paul. And I'm seeing, the names have been linked with the job, because you have to remember, international management, it's ruthless. It's a ruthless game, and we have people lined up as Carsley, Neil Lennon, Roy Keane, Steve Bruce. Big Sam said he was Big Sam. Well, I don't know. Big Sam hasn't been mentioned as much, Paul, in the last couple of weeks, because I know he's probably enjoying his life of football now at the moment, but will the FAI go for him? I'm not sure. Steve Bruce seems to be more linked with the
Yeah,
job
he does,
than
yeah.
Sam Allardyce. Yeah, I don't know, Paul. We're not going to get a manager in work. There's no like the FAI.
And of course, no, sorry for cutting across you just before we finish up. The big thing is the FBI don't have excess money. There's a huge debt. That means it looks like, it'll be probably next summer when the league, the English and the European League season is winding down, that a manager will become available. He'll be out of a job because they can't afford to get someone in a job.
No, that's the reason why maybe they can't get Lee Carsley. Lee Carsley seems to be the favourite, and a lot of people seem to be pushing for him. But to be honest with you, Paul, you would have the same inexperience at top level of football that Kinney has. If you're looking at, Kinney at least has managed senior teams. He managed in England, he managed in Scotland. He's obviously managed in Europe with Europe League with Dundalk. I know that Lee Carsley is probably playing at a higher standard. He play obviously as a player, but he's had the under 3-1s. They won the European Championships with England, but he's used to a certain quality of player. Like, to be honest with you, no lie, Paul. The under 3-1s in England would probably beat our senior team. I mean, if you look at the players that have come through the English system,
You're not comparing like with like.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. But in terms of skill level and stuff, that's probably a key point, Paul. No, it's easier. I'm not saying it's easier, but it's different managing under one team to managing a senior team. That was the accusation of Kinney. So it's going to be very interesting if they do go for Carsley in the end. Now, as you said yourself, they mightn't have much money. He's in it. Obviously, I don't know how long his contract is with.
And I can tell you, he's a well compensated contract anyway.
That's probably the reason. And unless Carsley, unless the FA make an approach from him, I don't know exactly what way legally they could do it. I say they probably have to rely on Carsley resigning than actually doing compensation for the FA. So the next appointment is huge, Paul. Irish football, in my lifetime, I don't think it's been as low. Finishing fourth, you get 6 points. 6 points came against Gibraltar, losing home and away against Greece, France, and Holland. Not even to get a point against one of those teams. There's a lot of young players coming through. There's probably good, decent squad with more experience there. Andrew Moran is a good young player too as well. He's coming. He's got into the team and his debut.
Just before we're going to go on to the 21s in a quick chat. So just a final word overall. Just your final comment on Stephen Kinney before we move on to the next topic.
A lot of hope, but sadly, it all ended in a bit of a disaster. I really wanted him to do well. I think everyone did. I liked the way he talked about the Irish team in terms of the positivity, talk about what they can do rather than what they can't do. But results, man, it just didn't work out, and I'm sad. I'm sad for him, but he'll move on. He won't get as good a job as the Irish manager again.